everybody, it's Lauren from Love Colors and I am back with another video for you guys today. So this video is going to be a much requested hair tutorial, just how I go about coloring hair. And it's funny because I don't know if anyone can relate, but I'm like, I don't know how to like do a tutorial. So, and like, I don't feel like, I don't know, are my skills really worth showing in a tutorial? But anywho, I'm gonna get past that and we're gonna do it and we're gonna work through it together. So bear with me as this will kind of be like my first official tutorial. But I'm gonna do 3 different hair pages for you guys because I just figured that way you would kind of get an idea on how to do multiple different colors and different styles of illustrated hair. So first up, we're going to do, well, I don't know if it'll be first, but one of the ones we're going to do is going to be this page. This is Witches and Familiars by Yusaku, which is an untouched book, so I thought this one would be good to get started in. And I'm not going to be coloring like the whole thing, I'm just going to color the hair in all of these, and then I'll have created 3 whips for myself, which is super fun, but that's okay. This one, I was looking for a good page, and I think this is so good because it's totally giving me like Pocahontas as a witch, because she even has, I think, a hummingbird friend in the movie. And then, I don't know, I just feel like it's giving that. So I'm gonna make this a black hair because I think Pocahontas, if I remember right, yeah, she has black hair. So I'm gonna do, it's actually gonna have like kind of like a blue highlight to it, and I know a lot of people really like it when I do that, so you'll get to see exactly how I do that color. And then we're gonna do little cuties, and I thought this would be a good kind of different one to do. I'm gonna do this page. I'm not sure how many of these I'm going to do. I'll just see how I'm feeling. I'll definitely do probably this one. Yeah, probably this one, but maybe I'll do another one too. But I figured this would be good because these don't have like individual strands of hair. So when you're just kind of given this like open space, you can kind of see how I would approach that. And then I figured what better book to work in for a hair tutorial than Holiday Hair. Of course, it is not Christmas time, but I found this page that I thought would be just perfect for this because I really can't imagine myself coloring this any other time. I feel like during Christmas when I'm looking through this book, I'm gonna go for, you know, one of the like very festive girls. So I figured this would be great for this. It's not too Christmassy. I can even make them like blueberries. And you can really get a focus on how I do the hair. And I like this one too because it kind of like, I don't know, like waves, and so you can see how I approach that. So yes, we are going to go ahead and get started. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with Witches and Familiars, just because I already know what color I want to do specifically. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, here we are. I've zoomed in a little bit. And bear with me if I go out of frame. Y'all know I'm like kind of the worst at that, I feel like. So to get started, remember we're doing a blue highlighted black hair. And the reason I do that is because if you've ever noticed, like, you know what? I actually have an example. This beautiful little Elvis Stitch figure was given to me by my amazing friend Christy, who is probably watching. He sits up here on my desk, but as you'll see, the highlight in his hair is actually blue. So oftentimes, especially I think in animation, when there's a black-haired character, they do blue highlights instead of, say, white or gray. So that is what we're doing here. And so to start with, this is my Ohuhus and my swatches of them. What I usually go with for this color hair combo, it changes all the time, but basically you're looking for kind of like a bright dark-ish blue. So this is probably like kind of the lightest I would go, and then something like really anything down here could work. And then I'm even looking at these. It's honestly just vibes. Like I don't have a specific one I go for. So I think for this purpose, I'm kind of feeling maybe B64, which I have both codes listed on here in case you're curious. So the new code is, oh yeah, you can see that. Okay, B114. But we're gonna take this, and this marker is dying, so I might need to replace in the middle of it. But basically what you want to do from here is find, well, this is like kind of a wavy hair, which will be a little bit different than just like actual plain straight hair. I like to find where it curves and then color that. So you can see the strand kind of curves out. And because it's out instead of like in, I feel like the light would be hitting it a little bit more. So that's why I'm doing that. And so like you can see right here, it's out, and you're just gonna do just where the highlight would kind of be. And there's no like exact science to this. You just kind of find that spot where it's jutting out a little bit and color big enough where you'll see the color, but not too much. And I really like this method because it kind of saves your marker ink, I think, a little bit, which if y'all have watched any of my videos, you know I'm all about that. Because, you know, instead of probably traditionally picking one color to color the hair with and then shading, you're only using a little bit of each color. So again, just right here. And I'm just gonna work at filling in these kind of jutted out areas, and then I'll probably speed this up and play some music as I'm doing that. Okay, I had to get a new marker. This is actually my very first copy of this marker, which is wild because I got those in 2023, and I guess I just really don't reach for this color often. Which I don't know why. It's perfectly, you know, like a pretty normal blue. I don't know if y'all can hear, it is storming here, which is kind of nice because it has been day after day of 100+ degree Fahrenheit weather. And so yeah, the rain is definitely much needed. But my husband was mad because he was of course gonna mow today, and the yard kind of needs it, and then of course it starts pouring rain, so oh well, I'm sure he's not too upset about it. Another rule of thumb, which you'll see more in like hairs that are a little bit straighter, is you just want to go for like kind of the center too. So if there's not a super obvious curve, or you're just not sure where to place it, you're just kind of looking to do this in the center of each strand. And like I said, like you'll see I did this bump and this one. There is literally no rhyme or reason to it. I'm definitely not someone who focuses a lot on trying to make shadows and highlight placement super realistic. You know, this is coloring. I feel like life is a little too short for that. For me, if you like to do that, that's awesome. Kudos to you. But yeah, for me, I just, you know, just kind of feel it out. If you see somewhere you think a highlighted piece of hair would look good, go for it, do it. And I've found that this method pretty much always looks good, even if you're not super like methodical about where you're putting things. So yeah, just trust the process. Okay, so once you have that first layer or a look color down, hold on, let me add one right here. Okay, once you've got that down, the next step is to let this completely dry, which at this point, a lot of it is probably the last things I did, or definitely not, but let it completely dry. And while we're doing that, you can go ahead and look for your next color, which now we do want to go into the grays. And so, oh, you know what? Actually, while we're here, let's go ahead and do the eyebrows. So when I color eyebrows, this is like a hair eyebrow combo tutorial. When I do that, I just do the whole thing with the lightest color, and then you'll see how I go about filling that in. But okay, there is that. And so we want to go to the grays and the blacks. And since we're working with this blue highlight, I tend to try to like to find a kind of blue toned gray, but you don't want to go too dark, because I find that a lot of these dark grays all just kind of look black. So you want to make sure it's something not too dark. So I'm thinking this right here would be a good one, because you kind of want it to get, I don't know, you want it to be a little bit darker than the blue if you can, which I don't know if that will. Actually, I think I'm gonna go with this. I think that will be enough. Oh my goodness, does that ever happen to anyone? Like, I'll pull out a marker and then another one comes shooting out with it. But okay, we're gonna do the next step. This should all be dry. Eep, sorry. So what we're gonna do now that we have that is we're just going to take the brush point. That's a key tip. Take the brush point, and then we are going to just stroke the marker as delicately as you can. So you're gonna start like where the blue's not, and you're gonna stroke into it, and you're gonna make sure to leave the highlight. So you just kind of follow wherever you've been, and just careful with the marker. And at this point, I generally fill in the whole hair with the second marker, even though there is a third step. But you don't have to. I mean, I don't know if I will. So like right here, I'll probably go in. Actually, here's probably a better option. Fill that in, but then I'll probably go down here and do that. So I'm gonna leave a little bit of space still right there. But a lot of these areas will be too small. So I will ultimately end up, if y'all, I don't know if you can hear the storm. It is like, it's crazy. It's so dark outside. It's the middle of the day and it looks like it's nighttime. But yeah, so you just fill this in. And the key here is really to keep these strokes like as organic looking as possible. So have some stroke like further into the blue, or some go shorter, and then kind of make sure that I try to keep them generally pretty thin, but it's also good to kind of have a variety with that too. Maybe some thicker ones and some thinner ones. But yeah, I'm just going to definitely speed this part up because it does take a little while, and I will come back when I finish. If y'all happen to see any flashing lighting during this, yeah, this storm is definitely, oh, it's definitely messing with the power. It keeps kind of flashing on and off. Hopefully it doesn't go completely off. Let me pause right here and do the eyebrows real quick. So I just kind of start at the bottom and I just kind of stroke up and out a little. I'm sure that's kind of hard to see, but just up and like towards the side of the face. And you won't leave a lot of the blue, but that's okay. Especially these, they're so thin anyhow, so. Okay, so that is the next step done, and I didn't mention this, but the reason why it's important to let every layer of color dry is that is what helps keep the like hair strokes very sharp. So if you did it while the marker previously was still wet, you wouldn't get the sharp strokes that you're really looking for in hair. I will say, if I could go and restart this, which I cannot, but if I could, I would probably go with a little bit of a lighter blue. So I'm now thinking about it. I'm thinking maybe this one or even that one would have been a slightly better choice. But this still looks great and it's gonna really come together with the next two steps. So again, let this layer dry, and we will come back once it is dry and ready for the next one. Okay, now for the final step. No, not the final step, third to final marker step. For this hair color, so the idea is always lightest, middle, dark. So we, for this one, want a very dark black. And again, like I said, I don't really feel like there's a lot of difference between like a black and then some of these dark grays. So I'm actually gonna go with NG09 or BGY38 if you're in the new codes. And same process, you want the marker, you want the brush tip, and you are just gonna go in and same place where you did the previous strokes, but you're just gonna go slightly less because you still want that kind of gray color to show through. So, and you're just gonna kind of go to the corners and anywhere there's some dark area. So there's that space. So spaces like that, you can see, they'll all get colored over eventually. And yeah, just kind of wherever you think those dark spots would be. I look for, yeah, like I said, the corners a lot. Or this too, you'll see I didn't put any blue back here because that's all kind of behind her face. So I figured, you know, a lot of that probably would be in shadow. And not putting the highlight color in areas like that really does help kind of give the hair some depth. Eyebrows, you're just kind of, with these really thin ones, oof, that's rough. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of do like a line at the bottom. And don't worry if you go over, you can totally fix that. What I'll probably end up doing to fix that is just taking like a fine liner and kind of reshaping the very bottom of the brow. I also, when I color skin, I tend to do a like shadow right underneath the eyebrow. So that could help color it too, cover it, especially if you're going with a darker skin tone. But yeah, one thing about the way I like to color, I am not someone who tries to stay too hard within the lines. Because that can be so hard to do. And there's always ways to fix that kind of thing. So that's my pro tip today. If you ever go outside the lines and you're feeling stressed out about it, don't stress. There are 100 different ways to fix that problem. So just be messy and enjoy it. I'm really curious if y'all can hear this like thunderstorm we're having. I feel like I'm either going to be talking about it a lot and then it won't be audible at all. Or like if I don't talk about it at all, it'll be like very loud and and then I'll have like not addressed it. And you'll see like specifically these areas where there's not like a corner, I just kind of do like a scribble in the middle of the dark gray part. Really easy to do, just, yep, scribble. And I always do the tips, which I don't know how accurate that actually is. But yeah, I do. See, you'll see down here, I got really messy outside the lines, but I'll probably just take like a white pen and go over that. But yeah, I think that's everything for the black. So now you don't have to worry about it drying, because we're done with the marker work. So there's that. Again, if I could go redo this, I would probably choose a slightly lighter blue, just because I feel like there is hardly any contrast between the blue and the gray. I mean, I'm almost tempted to even go in with like a shade between the gray and the black and just kind of like add a few more strokes here and there. That's what I'm doing, by the way. I said I was tempted. I'm not just tempted, I'm actually doing it. I don't normally do this. This is purely because I feel like I should have used a darker blue. I mean, a lighter blue. So even doing this multiple times, I still make like mistakes where I'm like, really? I don't know what blue I like for this, but everything is fixable in my opinion. So yeah, just a few kind of random ones here and there. I don't even know if it's really doing anything, but there we go. I'm gonna stop now. And the final thing, I've started doing this actually more recently, and this is definitely, I feel like, a trust the process thing, but take a white pen, and this will be for any hair color. Take a white gel pen, and what I'm gonna do is go into the very center of the highlighted portions, and just very lightly, I even kind of like to put the pen on its side a little bit. It's just like kind of, okay, not too much on its side. Do like some lines. Wow, okay. There we go. That's not great, is it? Oh, okay. You know what, let me get a different pen. This one's almost running dry. Okay, this one should be better. Here, just like little hair strokes in the lightest part, and I feel like this just kind of like helps emphasize the highlighted areas and kind of gives the hair like a shiny look to it. And again, there is no like, you know, really methodical way to do this, just kind of what you feel. And if you feel like they're getting like a little bright for the hair color, you can always just kind of rub your finger over it. That'll kind of dull it down just a little bit. You have to do it when it's wet, but yeah. And you know, just do this as much as you want, or if you don't like the step, you can just skip it entirely. Like I said, this is like kind of a newer part of my hair thing that I've been doing. I was doing it just without these white parts for a long time. But I feel like this can definitely kind of help give, yeah, really just some shine to the hair. So Okay. Yeah, okay, so I think, hold on. I can't stop. I overuse the white pen, I feel like, everywhere, like highlights and hair highlights. Everywhere I can use it. I feel like I definitely maybe tend to overuse it, but okay, that is the first hair all done. So yeah, let me know what y'all think. Let's look at the back. I always like to do that. I feel like the back of the black hair always looks weird because the blue is just so stark, but once you ease into it with the strokes on the front, it definitely looks, I think, good. I think it looks really good. So there's the first page. And like I said, I'm not finishing any of these today, so you'll have to stay tuned. I don't like having whips, so like ideally maybe I can get these done at the end of the month, but there is that one for now. And next up, let's go ahead and move into Little Cuties. And this is by Miss Kitsch. And okay, we're going to open to our page here. Okay, so I'm going to start with this gal right here in the corner. I'm gonna do classic brown hair for her, so let's get started. So for the brown, I'm going to go ahead and go, you want to go pretty light. You want to go a lot lighter than you think you want your brown hair to be. So I like to start here with this color, primarily because I know I have a lot of it. Really anything in this kind of region could work pretty well. But now that we have our color, I am going to go ahead, and this one's good because it has bangs, and it's pretty straight. So you're just gonna kind of do just the middle. And then over here, there's a little bit of hair. I'm just gonna do that. And then here, same thing, just a little middle section. And if I was feeling real fancy, I'd try to get the hair to show through the bubble, but oh, I don't want to have to deal with that. Or if I do, I can deal with it later when I go to finish this. But just kind of like that. And you know what? Since we have to wait for that to dry anyways, why don't we go ahead and do both of these little pictures? That way you can get another hair color in. So let's see. Maybe I should do red. I can do red, brown, blonde, black, and then you get kind of all the natural hair colors in one page. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do the whole page. Hopefully you guys are invested in this. For red hair is definitely, I mean, it's called red hair. I feel like it's more orange in reality, so I'm probably gonna do, I'm thinking this one, actually. This Y, do I even have this marker? I do. Okay, YR205. So yeah, any kind of like light orange is a good base for red hair. And is this, no, that looks good. Okay, same exact thing, just in the center. So you can see she's got these pigtails, and doesn't matter, you'll do the same effect here. And then I usually, since she has a hat on, I go higher to the top of the hat because it's hard to explain. But I'm basically gonna look like the hat is just casting like a small shadow. But her bangs would continue underneath the hat, so that's why I'm going nearly to the top with the slightest color. And then I'm gonna do a little bit right here. And since this is kind of behind, I don't think I'm gonna have that much of the highlight right there. So there's those. And then, you know what? I'm just gonna go on to the blonde girl. We're just gonna do this in steps. So for blonde, a really good starter color I find for like kind of like a dirty blonde is Y34. So we are going to grab that wherever she is. Here she is. And same exact thing. This process can definitely like be time consuming, but I love it. And it's very like methodical. So once you have it down, it's really easy to replicate, which I like. And then you kind of start to get your color combos down too. So yeah. Okay, and then time to redeem myself with her. I am going to go, what did I say? I think I said I used that. I thought this or that would be better. Let's go with the lighter one just to be safe, because you can always go darker with alcohol markers, but you can never go lighter. So and then with these buns, what I'll probably do is like this. And that way you'll bring in the dark from the sides. And again, I don't know how, you know, correct that is in terms of reality, but this is not reality, this is coloring. So let's keep it light and fun. Okay, just make sure I got that. Now we'll go back to these two cuties. So for the brown, we're then gonna get like a middle toned, which I like to do YR313 potato brown. It's one of my favorite colors. It's probably my favorite brown in the set. And same thing as before, just make these sharp and kind of intentional strokes. And if there are lines, you can definitely like use those as a guideline. And with this little strawberry hair piece, I'm just gonna kind of make a pretty obvious shadow that's outside of what the actual hair is doing, just to make it obvious that that's resting on her hair. There's that one. And then for the red hair, I think I'm going to go with something a little darker. My definite go-to for this would probably be YR8, but I do think, yeah, that marker's gone. It died a long time ago. What I might actually do is go with a Cali Art. Not to change brands on y'all, but I think this is a really good Cali Art color for that. I do find that the Cali Arts, I think they're like maybe a little bit more juicy than the Ohuhus, and so I find that even if you let this dry, the strokes of the hair will not, they won't be quite as crisp. We'll see if that's true or not. I say that and then they'll just like be completely fine. Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like you can kind of see it looks a little bit almost muddy in there. And I don't know why, but it's okay. The darkest color will cover that right up. And for this part underneath the hat, I still do like to add the little strokes at the top, just not quite as long, to make sure you keep that nice highlight across the bangs. Okay, then we've got these two ladies. Blonde, I always like to go, probably, like I said, we're gonna go for more of a dirty blonde, I think. So probably this Y230 will be a good option. I hope that was in camera frame. I didn't even look. Oh, I am still new to this. Yeah, I think that's good. And then, you know, this is not a very yellow blonde, but the darker shade I'm definitely gonna make sure is like a more yellowy color. And that should kind of help bring out the blonde color in it. And if y'all are thinking that you would like a more yellow blonde hair, I still think that Y42, just like a very light yellow, is a good highlight shade. But you could always go with more of like a medium yellow instead of this kind of almost yellow gray that I did. And that should give you more of like a classic kind of yellow blonde look to it. Okay, and then for her, y'all already know the drill. I'm going to get a, I think the same middle color, NG06. And hopefully it'll look a little bit better because this blue is a little bit lighter. Yeah, hopefully you can see the difference, how much of a, this one's a much brighter blue highlight that we're gonna get over the Witches and Familiars page. And of course, like, you know, you can do gray, and that will give a whole different look as well. So yeah, you can literally do this hair combo with any color hair. Just find 3 markers, light, medium, dark, and make sure that there's a pretty like high difference between them, and you should be golden. So there's those, and now we are on to our final step. Well, final marker step. I always forget that little white step. But let's get these put away. Okay. So for the brown, this is where you pull out a pretty dark brown. So I think for mine, I'm probably gonna go with Y12. Is that? Nope, that's dying. I have another one, I just don't feel like getting it. So let's do E310. And go ahead and do the last piece of marker work on here, starting at the top. And like, obviously you can make this like as detailed as you want to. So if you were even feeling like you maybe wanted to go in and add another brown right here, you could totally do that. And it would, you know, just again, do a little bit less than you did with this brown. I don't personally want to take the time to do 100 different colors. So in most cases, will limit it to 3. I think there have been a few times where I've done up to 4, but. Okay, I think that is good for her. And I'll go ahead and do the white highlight now. So I'm just gonna kind of do it in the center here. and maybe a little bit down here. Yeah, I like that. And then, although, you know what? I gotta do it here. See, I overuse it. I don't know if that was needed, but we did it. Okay, and then for her, we are going to do a pretty dark kind of orangey brown. I'm thinking probably YR5 for that. So let's go ahead and repeat. Another thing I would love to know in the comments is, do y'all prefer long YouTube videos or shorter ones? Because I know I like a mix of both, which is probably the answer I'll get. But like for this one example, I'm just sitting here thinking, should I even do holiday hair? And then it's like, well, I said I would. So I will probably do it. But, you know, in an event like a tutorial, do you want to see as many different versions of the tutorial as possible? Or like, would this page alone have been enough? Because it's kind of, you know, a few different colors and a few different shapes. So let me know down below what you think. But there is our little rare red-haired gal. I can totally speak. And again, I'm just gonna come in with this. Okay, so those are those done. And then we've got these two. I always have to make sure that I'm in frame. So for the blonde, like I said, we're gonna bring in more of a yellow this time. I'm thinking, I want it to be dark too. Maybe like Y111. I'm gonna try that. Let's see what I think. And if you always, you know, if you are here and you can try it out, and if you're like, I don't think that's dark enough or whatever, just swap to a darker one and cover the little test area. But I do think this is gonna work out okay. Okay, I went way too far with that with that yellow, but I think it's okay. I don't think it's a big deal. It looked worse before it started to dry, but I thought it looked good now. So there's our blonde. I'm gonna go in with this again. And y'all can see how it kind of went from looking very gray, and then I think the yellow for the darkest really brought out the fact that it's blonde hair and not just like gray. So there is that. And for the final hair, we're going to grab NG09 again and just go in for the last time. And one note I will say, and I don't know if you can tell on here, but if you pick a color that's not darker enough than your highlight color, and I notice this happens a lot with this kind of blue-black combo, is you'll see the kind of apparent line where the blue ended. And going in with the black will usually fix that. So it's not too much of a concern for this hair. But if you do that with any color, you know, you might have issues. So just make sure that when you pick the darker color than the highlight, that you're really picking something that's quite a bit darker. And I always think the higher contrast combos look a little bit better anyways. Okay, so there's that. I think, let's just do a quick comparison. You can see, I think I like that blue quite a bit better. I mean, this one's not bad. It's still there. It's still highlighting it, but that lighter blue was definitely the move, I think. So my mistake is your lesson. Okay. And there we have it, our little cuties page. So let me stand up and zoom you out a little bit. So there we go. We've got all the different kind of natural hair colors. And yeah, I hope this was helpful for how to kind of approach a more open spaced hair rather than individual strands. So let's move on to our final picture of holiday hair. Okay, so here is holiday hair. This is by Deborah Muller. And let me find our little hairdo page. Yeah, I just saw this and I was like, that is literally perfect for what I'm trying to do here. So we will go ahead and get started. I think for this one, since I've done kind of two more natural hair colors, I think I want to do something fun for this, like a dyed hair. I also was thinking it would be fun to do a dual combo, like highlights, which of course would be a little more difficult, but worth it, I think. I am thinking I want to make these blueberries because I did a lot of Christmas in July. It's August and I am not quite in the Christmas spirit yet, so what would look good with blue and green? And I'll probably do a blue-green bow too. I'm thinking like maybe blue and green, blue and green, blue and green. Maybe like brown, blonde? Maybe blonde with blue highlights. So we'll still get the fun dyed color out there. Don't you worry about it. Let's do it. Okay, and then I think I'll do, I really like, you know what? For the blonde, I think I'm going to do Y202 from the Cali Art Pastels for that, because that's kind of my go-to. I was trying to keep this all Ohuhu, in case you were really following along, but I already broke that rule. So let's just do it. So highlighted hair is really easy when you have specific strands like this. So all you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of randomly go about this. So and you're just gonna do the middle of every section. So, you know, do some blonde and then you're gonna leave some for the blue highlights. And like I said, there is really no, like, just try to keep it random, because the more random you keep it, the better the highlights will look, I think. So I try not to do like every other strand, but you know, maybe do some clumps of 2 or 3 like blonde ones and then a blue highlight and so on. So now that the blonde is done, we are going to swap gears into the blue, and I think I want to go pretty like straight up blue for this. So I am going to do the lightest blue I have, which I'm gonna go with this B03. Actually, I'm trying to think. Would more of like a muted blue be better, or would a bright blue be better? I think I'm gonna go bright. I'm gonna go bright. I think B02 I have a little bit more of, so, you know, trying to save my markers. But yeah, because now I just go in and fill in all the strands that you left empty. Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention. So while this hair is obviously like wavy hair, the strands that you're dealing with, the way that this has been drawn, they're pretty straight. And so I think earlier I had mentioned, you know, with straight hair, you just color the middle. This is another good example of that. The strands are all pretty straight, so you don't have to really worry about like where the curve is. I just do the middle section and call it good. Because the shadows within, you know, the way it's drawn when you do the shadow work, it'll just kind of naturally lend itself to that wavy illustration without you having to worry about it here. Go back in for the blonde, and we are going to do, I want to go more of a yellow blonde this time. I think I might do this Y260 Y39 if I can find that marker. Yes, I can. So a little bit more yellow, but not quite super duper yellow. I don't know why I started there. But yeah, just go in and repeat the process. Hopefully by this point, if you're still watching, you know it well. Okay, so there's step 2 of the blonde, and now we're gonna go into step 2 of the blue. And for this one, I'm thinking I'm gonna go with B070. Okay, now that those are done on both, we're gonna go in for our final shade of blonde. And for this one, I think I want to go pretty dark, so I think I'm gonna go with this YR2 right here. I kind of like starting from this side. Okay, so there is the final kind of blonde color, and then we're gonna go in with our final blue, which I think for this one I want to do something pretty dark. So this is the middle shade. I'm thinking that B64 again. Actually, we've been giving this marker all the love today, which is funny since I told you guys that I was still on my first copy of this, so I guess it was just waiting for this tutorial to really shine. Okay, I think that is everything for the marker work. I feel like I've been here forever. Of course, it'll feel like less time for you because I'm going to speed a lot of that up. But now I'm just going to go in and add some highlights. And yeah, just do it to, again, just the middle section where the hair is the lightest. However many or as little as you want to. And I'm probably going to title this video something like, you know, alcohol marker hair coloring, something along those lines. So if you happen to not have a white pen, then just don't even worry about this stuff. Like I said, I didn't even start doing this little part until just pretty recently, definitely the last maybe 2 or 3 months. So yeah, not needed, but I think it just adds that little extra something if you're looking for it. And I'm trying to kind of make sure to get, you know, if I went out of the line anywhere in the highlighted part, to cover those up if I see them. And also not to put my hand in a wet pen because I do that all the time. You know, you'd think you would do that once and you'd be like, oh, I need to let it dry before I start putting my hand back on the page, but no, not me. Not me. Okay, I think, no, a few more. Okay, I think we are, it's hard not to do it like literally everywhere. But okay, I think I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it good. That is, this is bothering me a little bit. I don't know why it's like getting streaky right there. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it good. So there is the last bit of hair. Let me stand up. Yeah, that looks really great. So there we go. That is my hair coloring tutorial. So today we did that, and then we also did these 4 cuties, and we did her. So it's funny, I feel like even today, I feel like this is definitely the worst. I don't really like this one. I feel kind of rough with how that came out, but you'll have to let me know what you think. Less intense highlights is not always a bad thing, but you can definitely see the difference with the blues. I feel like that one's a lot better. So there are my 3 hairs. I hope this has been helpful. I know some of you guys really specifically requested a hair tutorial, and so I hope you found this helpful and something that you're able to use and to, you know, apply to your coloring. So yeah, if you are interested in any of these books that you see here today, they will all be in my Amazon storefront, which I always list down below. It's also on my website, which is also listed down below. So you can take a look at those there. And yeah, if you have any questions, if there's any other tutorials that you'd like to see from me, or if you have like a specific hair color you'd like to see, anything like that, just let me know. I'd always be happy to make any kind of video for you guys. So yeah, like and comment down below, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.